Have you ever just been in a situation where you just felt extremely uncomfortable? Like it sucked. Your clothes felt uncomfortable. The environment wasn't comfortable. The vibes weren't comfortable. It just didn't feel good. But what if I were to tell you that getting uncomfortable is the key for you to reach your fullest potential? Coming up next on the Third Quarter Podcast. Welcome to the Third Quarter Podcast. I am your host, Ace, and you know I'm blessed by the best, but guess what? So are you, and we are back with another impactful, enlightening, insightful, encouraging episode of the Third Quarter Podcast. But before we get into that, man, I just want to say thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the subscribing and the following and all those other things, because this is the number one podcast in the world for health and fitness, Craig. The number one podcast in the world, Craig. And it's because of that. The reason is due to you following, subscribing, and rating this podcast 5 stars, which brings me to this. If you haven't yet subscribed or followed on your desired podcast platform, please do so. It means so much, and it does more than you know. And also, if you have done it, thank you, and thank you. Today's episode is a good one, man. It is kind of like a part 2. It's kind of like a part 2. A few pods ago, we talked about basically the stepping into the unknown and getting uncomfortable. But what I wanted to dive a little deeper on in this pod is the importance of getting comfortable in the discomfort. Because I think one of the hardest things for us to do as people is to dance in the rain. I don't know if you've ever heard of that phrase, learn to dance in the rain. But basically what it means is learn to celebrate in discomfort. Lean into the discomfort, because it is in those uncomfortable moments where we really start to find out who we really are. Because if we're really being honest with ourselves, you can't really grow in comfort. No matter how good it feels, no matter how comfortable it may be, it's very limiting. And it's important for us as human beings to put ourselves in circumstances and environments willingly that forces us to grow and to change. And one of the best examples that I can give to you is when it comes to fitness. And you know, or you would know by now by previous pod episodes and my social media, I went through a very drastic fitness transformation where over the course of 10 months, I've lost over 50 pounds. And I started at 265 pounds. And right now, I'm hovering like that 214 range. But at the time of my birthday, I was 214 pounds. And I still have some work to do. I'm going to keep going until the first day of summer, which I believe is June the 20th. So I have about 8.5 weeks or so at the time of this particular recording. And I really atone and give a lot of credit to my success in my transformation, to my willingness to get uncomfortable. And when you are in the gym, especially if you're a beginner, the first thing that you're going to experience when you start lifting weights and working out and training is your body is going to get sore. Your body's going to get sore. You're going to really kind of get worse before you get better. As weird as that sounds, you don't get better or grow in the gym. You actually get weaker because the body needs challenge and change and discomfort in order for the body to be forced to grow, to evolve, to build muscle. So when you're going to the gym, really what you're doing is you're willingly choosing to suffer. You are by choice putting your body in an environment that is designed for it to be uncomfortable. And if you're really training right, and you're not just doing exercises that you're great at or just sticking to the things that you know, you're allowing yourself to get uncomfortable by maybe increasing the weight or the tempo or the exercises or the movements or the frequency. When you're doing it that way, that's when you really start to see the change long term, because you're forcing your body to adapt. And that's really what getting uncomfortable is all about. It's about getting to a place where you learn to adapt to a new level of discomfort, which then creates a new plateau of comfort, right? So every time you get outside of your comfort zone and you step into this new arena now becomes the baseline of your comfort zone. And so it's just this constant climbing up the ladder to set a new floor for what your comfort zone is. But the hardest thing to do is just to step your toe over that line. I always say there's a dividing line between your comfort zone and your potential. And the closer you get to that line, that's when the negativity starts to creep in, the negative talk, the mindset, the questioning, the doubt, the fear, the worry, and all the things that try to keep us from crossing that line. Because remember this, your brain is not designed to help you get uncomfortable. It's not there to encourage you or to help you achieve your goals. Your brain is designed for you to be protected, safe, and comfortable. That's why when you're not challenging yourself, you're not pushing yourself, you're not getting outside of your comfort zone, you're not really having negative self-talk. You're not really having thoughts of fear or worry, because you kind of taken yourself out of the equation. You're not in the race anymore. You've self-sabotaged yourself. You're not really in a position to force yourself to have these mental thoughts and this negative self-talk, because you're in a place where you're not being challenged and there's no friction. But the closer you get to that dividing line that separates potential and comfort, that's when the friction, the thoughts, the negative self-talk starts to creep in. And those that are willing to allow themselves to cross that line and accept the fine print of what success has, because success really is not about the fruit that comes with whatever goal you're going after. It's really about, are you willing to handle and to deal with the fine print? You've seen those commercials. Whenever we see those commercials as advertising some type of supplement or some type of drug, the whole commercial is like happy people, they're smiling, they're out to dinner, they're having great workouts, they have great relationships. They make it seem like this is the best decision that you'll ever make. But the very end of the commercial, that's when they start to do the may cause cancer, may cause diabetes, may cause, you may die. Like that's when they tell you all the side effects of what could possibly happen if you decide to cross that line. And when you're buying the pill or you're buying the drug, you're not buying the commercial. You're not buying the fruit. You're not buying the sexiness of the commercial. What you're really buying is the fine print. Are you willing to invest your money and time into the fine print? And so when we look at getting outside of your comfort zone, yes, it's the success, it's the money, it's the goals, it's the weight loss, it's the relationship, it's the marriage. That thing is sexy to us. But the reason why I believe most people fall off is because they glorified wanting the sexiness of the goal, but not really understanding and asking themselves, are they willing to invest into the fine print? And it's those that are willing to know what the fine print is and still cross that line anyway that usually make it happen. So the question becomes, how do you get comfortable with investing in the fine print? How do you get comfortable with stepping over that line, knowing that you're stepping into the unknown? Because really what potential is, it's unknown. You don't know. You haven't seen yourself do this thing yet. So yeah, there's going to be some worry. Yeah, there's going to be some fear. Yeah, there's going to be some concern because You're leaving the familiar and the known and the certainty, and you're stepping into something that you've never experienced, you've never seen, you never believed, and you might have even not even really realized how strong and powerful you really are. And so you're stepping into this territory where you don't have a residence in. You don't have a home here. You're kind of just like, you're a tourist that's forced to be here for a while, and you don't know what apartment to get. You don't have any money. You don't have any food. You're kind of just stranded here in this territory of uncertainty. But how do you get comfortable with being in a place that you've never been? How can you get comfortable with being somewhere that you've never experienced? And no one in your family has done it. And people have told you to stop, and people have told you to turn back around. Why are you leaving here? Why are you leaving job security? Why are you leaving? You have a degree. Why are you leaving? We have a family business that I have for you. All you have to do is just say yes, and it's yours. Forget about what you want to do. This is certainty. Why do you want to leave this relationship? You've known this person for so long. Why do you want to be single now? Shouldn't you be married and have kids? Why aren't you prioritizing that? We all know those thoughts. And all those thoughts come in when you step over that line of comfort and you enter this territory of the unknown. And the first thing I want to say to you is, as soon as you decide to step over that line, give yourself a round of applause, because the majority of people that have stepped to that line and they had to make a decision of leaving the familiar and leaving the certainty and leaving the safety and the comfort of convenience and knowing, they decided to stay. They weren't willing to invest in the fine print. And there's no judgment, no shade, no nothing towards them. Everybody has a decision to make, and everyone wants to live the life that they want to live. But if you're listening to this podcast right now, you are not the person at heart that wants to stay behind the line. You want to cross that line. But there is a worry, there's a concern that if you step into the unknown, it's not going to work out. You're going to get hurt. You're going to bump your head. You're going to scrape your knee. People are going to leave you. People are going to backstab you. You're going to start some things and it's not going to work out. There's a fear that these things are going to come. And I want to tell you, congratulations, because everything that you are about to embark on is going to happen. Right? So that's the fun part. The fun part is when you step into the unknown, you know that a lot of the things that's going to happen that's in your mind is probably going to happen. Yeah, you're going to start something and it's not going to work out. Yep, you're going to bump your head. Yep, you're going to scrape your knee. Yep, you're going to get sore. That's what happens when you decide to choose growth. And when you step over that line and you acknowledge the fact, like, okay, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not expecting something other than what's honest and real. Stepping into the unknown is not a straight shot to fruitfulness and success and growth. It's a process. But those that know that stepping over that line, right, you're going to take shots early. You're going to have rejection early. You're going to have people say no early. You're going to have people leave you early. Like, that's a part of the process. But when you know that and you expect this to happen, it makes everything kind of easier to deal with. So the first thing I kind of want to remind you is when you cross this line, you have to change your expectations. You got to change your perception. Because behind the line, it's all mapped out. You know exactly what to expect. You know how the relationship is going to go. You know how much money you're going to make. You know what to do for work. You know how you're going to function as soon as you wake up and as soon as you go to bed. You can predict how that day is going. There really isn't any surprises. But when you cross that line, man, every day something new is happening because it's a new experience. It's like being in a new school for the first time after like 10 years. You're completely uprooted from your family and all your friends, and you're thrown into this new environment with people you've never seen, teachers you've never had, kids from different backgrounds. They find something funny that you don't find as funny. You find something funny, they think it's weird. It's like this whole immersive process of new discovery. but it's the newness, the freshness of something that really rejuvenates your spirit. So when you step into the unknown, yes, you have to change your expectations. You got to change your perception. But when you have that, when you cross the line, you are opening yourself up for a freshness and a rejuvenation of your spirit because you're starting from scratch. You're starting over, but you're not starting over as the old version of yourself. You're starting over as this new, rejuvenated person that you've always wanted to be. You have a blank canvas now. So one of the ways that you can get comfortable in the unknown is knowing that this first step, you completely have a new canvas that you can create from scratch. You have a new story to tell. You have a new outlook on life that you have. You have a new perspective of your dreams and your desires, that all the old stuff, all of the old lies, all of the old things that you believed is behind you now, and your potential is right in front of you. It's right there. So when you decide to step into the unknown, you're embracing this new freshness, this new outlook on life that you couldn't have back behind that line. It's just a beautiful thing. Now you may be listening to this by Ace. I know that's what you're selling. What you're selling sounds good, but man, like, you don't understand me. Like, I struggle with my confidence. Like, everyone in my family is telling me not to do this. They're telling me not to move. They're telling me not to start this business. Like, nobody around me believes that I should be crossing this line. And I'm here to tell you, good. You don't want everyone to be supporting you like you think you do. And the reason why I say this is, when you decide to grow, there's a part of you that has to embark not just in new environment, but new community. You see, when you cross that line, you step into an arena where other people have decided to cross that line too. So now you're embarking into community of like-minded individuals, not throwing shade at the people that's behind the line, but the people that's behind the line are supporting you to the limit of their understanding. But once you decide to cross that line, they can't support you like they used to, because what you're doing, they don't get it. They don't get it. And it's not their job to understand what you're doing. It's your job to understand. It's your job to cross that line. It's not your job to convince people that what you're doing is right and true. It's only your responsibility to cross that line and to make it happen. And guess what? Some people, I don't even have this written down, but some people are going to be, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Meaning they need to see you do it in order for them to believe that you had it in you all along. But when you cross that line, you're going to start to find yourself surrounded with not I'll believe it when I see it people, but I believe it despite what I see. You're stepping into the community of faith. So when you decide to step over that line and get outside of your comfort zone, you're going to find yourself with community of people that are walking by faith and not by sight. So that's another way that you can get comfortable in the uncomfortable, because the community that you're going to draw, the community that you're going to attract, are like-minded people that are operating under the same mentality. We walk by faith and not by sight. And as an aside, if you feel pulled to do this, I always say that God kind of gives you a trailer, right? Like when you have a vision of your life, it's kind of like a trailer to a movie. Okay? Like when you're going to a movie theater, and then now it's like the trailers last longer than the movie now. It's like the first hour is just all trailers. I ain't mad at it, but it's like, man, like I want to eat this pop. I ain't trying to, be halfway done with my snacks before the movie start. Like, can we speed up this Nicole Kidman joint? Like, come on. But think about it. What's the point of a trailer? The point of the trailer is not just to get you interested into the movie. The point of the trailer is not to get you just to want to see the movie. The point of the trailer is to not just to get you excited, because all that stuff is free. The point of the trailer is to excite you to the point that you're willing to invest your money into seeing the movie. So the trailer is to light you up on the inside to make you want to invest into seeing how this trailer plays out in the movie. I want to see how this thing plays out. The vision that God gave you is the exact same way. The vision is the trailer. But why is he showing you the trailer? It's to encourage you and to spark something on the inside of you to invest into the final print so you can see how this thing plays out. So if he put the trailer in your heart, that's a prerequisite that the movie of your life is already yours. So when you step over the line of comfort and potential, you know that he's got you right here. He showed you the trailer. Now he just wanted to see if you're willing to invest. And once you cross that line, that's you telling him and showing him, yo, I'm ready to invest. I want this. I want to see how this movie plays out. So when you cross that line, even though you are in a place of discomfort, you really should feel more comfortable than ever because you know you've entered the arena where God wants you to be. You see, crossing that line between comfort and potential is really about you seeing how much not only do you really want it, but also how much do you really trust God? Because he can't show you everything. Because then it's like, okay, I know how this is going to go. Let's do it. It doesn't require any faith. It doesn't require you to stretch. It doesn't require you to get sore. It doesn't require you to build any muscle. But he's going to show you just enough for you to be like, you know what? I want to invest and see how this movie plays out. Let's go. So stepping over that line is the best decision that you can ever make. Why? Because you know you are entering the God zone. You are entering the arena that even though things feel unfamiliar to you, they're going to feel familiar to your spirit. Why? Because he knew you when you were in your mother's womb. It may feel unfamiliar to your eyes, but your spirit's going to feel at home because this is where you were supposed to be all along. Now, some of you are like, Ace, I'm 50 years old. Ace, I'm 60. Ace, I got 2 kids. I'm not married. I'm a single mom. I'm a single dad. It's too late. No. God says, my gift for you will always make room for you. My gift will make room for you. There's no expiration date on your gifting unless you put a limit on it. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're 60. I don't care if you're a single mom. I don't care if you're a single dad. I don't care if you got 1 kid, no kids, 5 kids, 10 kids. When you cross that line, he's got you. Your greatness, your legacy depends on you crossing that line. No one is going to want to read the story of the person that stayed behind the line. No one wants to listen to that podcast of the story of the person that stayed behind the line. The people that we admire, the legends, the Serena Williams, the Denzels, the Dwayne Johnsons, the Meryl Streeps, all of those. I'm running out of names right now. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm blanking, but I'm blanking. The Beyoncés, come on, Beehive, the Beyoncés. What if Beyonce was like, you know what? I ain't gonna cross that line. I'm straight over here. How would you feel if Beyonce decided to stay below that line? Think about all the things we would have missed. Think about all the joy you would have missed if she would have decided just to settle, stay behind the line. Thank God she didn't. And if you're still listening to this, thank God you didn't either. The last thing I want to say is this. if you want to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to understand this one simple concept. You have to allow yourself to stay in the fire as long as it possibly takes. It's not going to go the way that you think it's going to go early. It's just like the person that packs up and leaves and moves to Los Angeles or moves to New York. And they're like, all my dreams is going to come true. I can't wait. But they bussing tables. They're waiters or waitresses. You know, they're doing odd jobs to make ends meet because it's taking longer than they thought. It happened to me when I moved to New York. I thought I was about to blow up as an actor and a model. I was working at Tommy Bahama. I was a server and a, what do they call those people? I forget what it's off the top of my head, but I would do events for Tommy Hilfiger and Skechers. You know, I would do all these different type of things to make ends meet and to make some money on the side, because you are entering a career where, you know, it's in someone else's hands. And so the motivation and the energy of the initial stepping over the line is super high. When you first get to LA, your eyes are wide open. When you first get to New York, your eyes are wide open, especially if you're from the Midwest or somewhere where you don't have access to all these lights and the beaches and all these different things that you only see on TV. Oh, you're super excited. But what happens when it's taken 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years? Are you willing to stick it out? But when you know that, man, I'm going to be in the fire for a little bit, but remember, the fire is not meant to burn you. It's meant to refine you. There are some things about you that you're bringing over from your past that cannot go to where your future is. So staying in the fire is not a sign of punishment. It's not a sign that it's not working. It's a sign that you're shedding old skin so you can step into the new one. Because who you used to be is not going to get you to where you're going. You're going to have to shed some things. You're going to have to shed some belief systems, some paradigms, some relationships, some habits, some behavioral characteristics that can't go and does not belong where you're going. So the initial part of you stepping over that line is allowing the fire to refine you. But when you build the courage to step over that line, when you're willing to embrace new community, when you're willing to walk by faith and not by sight, when you're willing to embrace the idea that God wouldn't want you to do this if he wasn't going to help you get through it, and not just get through it, but persevere, not just persevere to excel, and not just excel, but to be a legend, and not to just to be a legend, but to leave a legacy. And when you know that the time that you cross that line is meant for you to be refined and redefined, my friend, there is nothing in this world that will ever stop you. So if you're on this journey of getting outside of your comfort zone, just know that you're not alone. And just know on the other side of that line, me and others are going to welcome you with open arms. And we're going to get through this together, and not just get through it, but grow through it. I love you so much. I hope this episode blessed you. If someone came to mind while listening to this, please share it to them. You never know what they may needing at the time that you send it. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please, if you haven't followed, subscribed, rated, or reviewed, please take some time out to do it. It means more to me and to this community than you know. I love you so much. Be safe, be blessed, and thank you for listening to the Third Quarter Podcast.